Hare Krishna. My name is Lajjavati Devi Dasi. My husband, Chidvaibhav Das, and I live in Auckland, New Zealand. We started learning Sanskrit a few years ago, and this was mainly because we used to listen to His Holiness Radha Govind Goswami Maharaj's lectures, and in almost all his lectures we heard him say how learning a little bit of Sanskrit could actually help us get closer to the scriptures, get a feeling of belonging when we started reading the scriptures. And that inspired us to start learning this beautiful language. After that, we were lucky to have the constant encouragement of His Grace Padmasambhava Das Prabhu. Now, Padmasambhava Prabhu, or Padma Prabhu as he's affectionately called, is a Malaysian Chinese, and just to encourage us to learn the language, he learned the language himself with us, and he even learned to read and write Devanagari. He's just amazing. If it was difficult for us, we are speakers of Indian languages, my husband and I. Just imagine how much more difficult it would have been for him. But he was just so persistent, and that gave us the fillip to say, no, we must learn the language ourselves as well. So we are especially grateful to His Holiness Radha Govind Swami, as well as His Grace Padmasambhava Das Prabhu for their inspiration and Padma Prabhu's encouragement. We were also very lucky to have had the blessings of His Holiness Bhanu Swami in our endeavor to start teaching the language. Now, Bhanu Maharaj, as you might know, is a Sanskrit Pandit, and he has translated a number of works of the Acharyas from Sanskrit into English. Incidentally, Bhanu Maharaj is American of Japanese origin. So that was another inspiration for us. And once we learned the language a little bit, when we started reading the Bhagavad Gita, we actually understood what Radha Govind Maharaj was saying. It almost felt like familiar words would jump off the pages and speak to us. So I'm not saying we understood all of it or we understand all of it, but just those few words which we are familiar with, which we've learned in other contexts, they seem to take on a new meaning, and it's almost as if Lord Krishna starts speaking to you personally. So for us, that was hugely, I know this is an overused word, awesome, but it was an awesome experience. The other result of learning the language was that we realized that a number of prayers and shlokas that we chant every day, we were actually chanting them wrong. The pronunciation was wrong. And because the pronunciation was wrong, in a number of cases, the meaning was absolutely wrong, and in some cases, horrendously wrong. The meaning was changed completely. In fact, the opposite of what we were actually praying or desiring to convey. And so the idea of coming up with a series of videos analyzing the errors that we commonly make, So that idea was born, and it was at that time we came across this wonderful book by His Holiness Loknath Swami. It's called Sanskritoccharanam. Uh, and in his book, Loknath Maharaj actually looks at each of the prayers that we chant every day, each of the mantras that we chant every day, starting with Prabhupada Pranam mantras, and the morning prayers, Samsara Davanala, that is the Guru Ashtakam prayers, and all the others. And he actually lists out all the common mistakes that we make, and he also explains some of the errors and what the errors mean, how they actually change the shlokas. So that book was very, very useful. In fact, it's instrumental in a number of these videos that we've tried to make here. So what I have tried to do here is present videos analyzing each mantra that we chant, each mantra or song that we sing, and try and present the Sanskrit language through these mantras. So in the process, what I've tried to do is explain how some of the common forms of words occur in the Sanskrit language, and also how when we chant the mantras wrongly, we are changing the meanings and what those meanings are. So without much ado, bless me, all Vaishnavas, so that I can do a good job. Hare Krishna.